want to do a brief status update real quick before I begin this weekly review of Monogatari, because I've already had a couple of Chibits already asking me, when is Gangsta coming out, because it's supposed to come out today because the Raw is already out. There's no time for a translation. When is it supposed to come out? So, supposedly Funimation, they take a while to actually translate the first episode of a series when it comes out for each individual season, and so if I had to judge, I'm willing to bet we're not going to get Gangsta today. If I had to say, it most likely is either going to come out early tomorrow or Friday. One or the other, I think that Gangsta is going to be coming out, because usually Funimation has some form of delay when it comes to new series coming out each season. Now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about this episode. So, Monogatari. We get introduced to a new character in this episode. I think his name is Oda. Very fitting name for, since Oda-sensei actually did a nice good fan art for Monogatari on Twitter. Remember, I showed that picture a couple episodes back. Well, it's funny getting to see how this character, Oda, was introduced, and how he is interacting with our character. So his main point, so far from what I could see from his character, my first impressions of him, he seems to be a character that is trying to progress the romance between Yamato and Goda, and at the exact same time, he is pursuing his own love interest, Suna's sister, and trying to give her closure. That is what is building up, and this is actually a very good thing. I expected this dude that was introduced in this episode, Oda, to be rather annoying, or a prick, because when it comes to new characters being introduced, especially pretty boys like, what we saw in this episode that looked very similar to Suna, I was like, this dude's probably going to be a straight up prick, the way he started acting. But it turned around, we come to find out, this dude was just seeing who Goda was, trying to test out Goda to see if he was a good person or not, because if Goda was a good person, he was just going to accept him. If he's not, what was probably going to happen. There's probably going to be some drama. So that dude, he was kind of looking out for Suna's sister. That's what he was doing. But he also is trying to figure out how he can be with Suna's sister and get with her at the end of this episode, because he makes a declaration. And he says, right at this moment, you're not fine. You're not fine with Yamato and Goda being together. You're very upset about this. I mean, this is why you turned me down, is because you still have feelings towards Goda, and you cannot move past those feelings. And so this dude is actually setting up this circumstance in probably next week's episode to where Suna's sister and Goda are going to be alone. They're going to be alone, and probably she is going to announce her love to Goda, and Goda's probably going to turn her down, because we know Goda's not the type of, person to cheat on his girlfriend, but that will add some form of closure for those two's, love interest, which I'm glad that's actually getting out of the way, which is very shocking, because that's the type of stuff that really is never answered, to be honest. I mean, if you think about it, when it comes to romance that, end, let's say, a romance is about to end in 5 chapters, okay? Usually when there's different love interest and plot points, with, the love interest getting together with the character, and, they get axed out of the equation, and, the main character gets with the main female character, and, the other girls get shoved to the side, usually their love interest and their threads to the character doesn't really get answered or really good closure. It usually doesn't. And to see how the mangaka of the series decided to take the time to give some closure to Suna's sister and have this moment, especially with this little arc building up, it makes me satisfied once again about this series, just to see how that is getting out of the way. Most likely this is going to cause some form of drama, but we'll have to see how Monogatari actually takes this drama, because Monogatari, it tries to avoid drama quite a bit, and depending on how it goes, this can turn out to be very big when it comes to drama, or is it very bad? I mean, it just really depends on how it's used, but I'm looking forward to seeing how next week's episode is going to be executed. Now, when it comes to the point of Suna's sister and this dude Oda that was introduced in this episode being together as a couple, I ship it. I definitely ship it. Those two, they have compatibility. They're definitely compatible. I mean, the way they argue and bicker throughout this episode, the way they acted, I mean, they definitely suit each other, and I'm glad she's going to be getting with someone, because it's obvious that Goda's going to be with Yamato to the very end, because those two are the main couple. I highly doubt they would split up. So the main thing here is I'm glad that Suna's sister is getting love interest where she won't be alone at the end of the series. That makes me very happy. Now we just need Suna, the bromance, to actually have a girlfriend. We need him to get a girlfriend, and everything is all right in this world. So a very solid episode, and if you hear any thunder, well, it's thundering and lightning outside, but getting back on point, overall, this episode of Monogatari, very fucking good. I love it a lot. And I can't wait for next week. I really can't. Next week, you know, summer of 2015 begins. And, I mean, it's going to probably be fucking good. I'm glad Order Monogatari is sticking around for another season because I couldn't deal with having the series end on me. Tell me your thoughts, comments below. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.